morning. It's Joe Romero, your Subaru Added Security and Equity Shield product partner for the Portland and Denver zones. I hope you are all staying safe and healthy out there. Those of you that are still working, I say this every time, thank you for going in every day. Thank you for continuing to support the brand and support the products. We appreciate everything you do for Added Security and for Equity Shield. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about best practices, things that we can do to continue to support the brand and support the products, but in our new environment. How can we use technology? How can we use the tools that we have available to us to continue to sell cars and products? So to that end, today I have a special guest. This guest is from a retailer that last month in April sold 128 new Subarus without a customer showing up in the showroom. That's 128 new Subarus. That's not counting what they sold in used cars, and that's not counting any certified pre-owned without a customer on the showroom floor. Last year, this retailer sold 3,449 new Subarus, which is good for the number 2 spot on the volume lead in the country. So please, help me welcome from Champ Subaru in Denver, Colorado, sales manager Jin Pak. So you guys have always been, Champ in particular, has always been one of the retailers that I could go into and see how advanced you guys were on the technology you guys were using. Your salespeople, when they get a lead, client advisors, when they get a lead, go out and take a video, do a video walk around, send FaceTime videos. Everything they've done is tailored like to the Gen X and those type of guys that want to buy cars that way. So the reason I wanted to talk to you is because you guys seem like you've, with all the restrictions that have been in place, have still kind of kept pace with sales. What are you guys doing differently? What are you guys doing the same? So I'm trying to get some best practices from someone that's doing things.
Well, I mean, obviously the biggest challenge we're running into is our entire philosophy and what we do is about transparency. And when you're in this type of situation, you can't really talk to somebody over the phone or send an email about how transparent we are. Otherwise, it's just words. So, using our A to Z sync program where we do a Zoom meeting for the base payment where they can see all the numbers as we're going through it, and being able to kind of go through the entire process with us from the beginning has definitely helped us a lot in terms of keeping with our entire transparency focus. Customers are always extremely receptive to it, obviously, when they can see what we're talking about, what we're doing. Any adjustments that they make is just a calculator at that point, rather than, the traditional style of, hey, here are the numbers, and they get it in the email, and then they want to see what it would be with money down or whatever. We just change everything all kind of live as we do it. So,
and for you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, not a lot changes because you're still showing them the screen on a Zoom meeting. So they're still seeing what they would be seeing if they were sitting right in the desk with you.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. The biggest challenge that we've had when it comes to that is, we want to earn the business, I guess. And in this type of particular environment, it's significantly easier, I guess, in a sense to earn it. Because of the things that we're willing to do for customers and, take it to the next step and next level from a customer service standpoint, taking cars to people's houses, multiple cars to people's houses, have them look at multiple cars, bring the cars back, go over the numbers via Zoom meeting. We can do everything with the one salesperson and, we try to go above and beyond, and it seems to be helping out from a client standpoint, where they feel like they can trust us. They don't really want to shop anywhere else and go through the rest of the process anywhere else because it's all fairly clunky anywhere else, just from my understanding. Because you got to deal with either the salesperson or the sales manager going through the different numbers and such. Then, you work with a different person from the finance. You've got, when you look at it from the entire sales process standpoint, most dealerships have a BDC department. They have a salesperson or a product specialist or whatever they want to be called. So the internet guy gets in contact with him, sets the appointment. The salesperson goes, shows the vehicle, goes over the vehicle. The sales manager goes through the numbers on the vehicle itself. The finance manager goes over the product and the signature portion of it. So there's no real time to develop any sort of like rapport with the guy without ever actually, when you're only spending such little time with them overall. So whereas our guys are spending pretty much all day and driving all over the state for these people.
How hard was it for your guys to get accustomed to using Zoom? In this format, I mean, we could share a screen, we could look at a menu, we could do everything, but how hard was it for them to get used to doing it this way as opposed to face-to-face?
I just we put on 3 new guys today, and I just kind of did a quick overview. This is what you do to set it up. And then I had him go to his desk, click on the link to see what the customer experience is overall. I mean, it's just, once they see it, it's ridiculously easy. And then now all 3 of them, are already on their first Zoom meetings and being able to share it with anyone else. I mean, it was, piece of cake.
I don't think it's hard either. I just was curious how hard it was to, we're car guys. We're used to doing it a certain way, and when you ask us to change, we don't want to do it. To your credit, you're getting a lot more people that aren't old car guys like we are that are willing to adapt.
Yes, they're willing to do whatever it takes. I think they all, they think this entire process is cool. I mean, now at this point, we've actually got salespeople, people that have been doing it for a few years now. They're saying that they don't ever want to go back. I mean, this is how they want to do business, where they go to people's houses and, dictate schedules and appointments and kind of control their pace for the day rather than, when's the customer going to come in? Are they going to be late for their appointments? And when they're here, I mean, what are they looking to accomplish? But being able to accomplish it all remotely.
So I will give you guys a lot of credit. You personally and Griffin, one of your guys, took care of my son-in-law, and he was very complimentary of the process of going out, of presenting the numbers, of doing everything up front. So you guys did a great job on that. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
In talking about finance products in particular, when you get to that portion of, you've already gone through your base payment, they're committed to the car. Are your guys having any different objections or any different problems in presenting the finance products on a Zoom meeting?
Yes, we had a pretty significant issue when we first started. Obviously this entire situation is pretty fluid, and what we wanted to do is we wanted to, do a Zoom meeting for a base payment, have them submit a credit application, go out, take a video of the specific vehicle that they're interested in. And then if they liked the video, then we were going to go through the menu presentation, print documents, bring the paperwork over to the customer's house, which is actually what we ended up doing for Austin. But, what we've typically found to capitalize on the menu side of stuff, on the product penetration side, we've had to adjust a little bit, and we're now trying to get more cars to customers. That gives us an opportunity to do a detailed walk around and show them all these new things that the vehicle itself has, so that when you're talking about the products and what they come with, they've actually experienced what these things do. And then after doing that, the menu presentations have gotten significantly better, where they're able to relate with the customer, like those specific things that they liked, rather than when we were trying to do Zoom meetings immediately, it's all like, it covers the eyesight feature, these specific things, and then the customer is like, well, I don't care about any of that stuff. I just want my payment where it's at, and just move on.
They hadn't seen any of the features. You're right. Selling protection on something they haven't seen how it works. That makes sense. And that's a good thing to point out, in that when we're talking about protecting all the technology, if we're doing it all remotely and they haven't seen any of the technology, they're not going to have the same amount of interest.
Exactly. And that seems to have happened a lot. It was specifically one of the client advisors, Drew, sold like 24 cars, I think, last month. And the first half of the month, he tried to do it smartly, in the sense of getting everything done, making one trip to the customer's house, signing documents, driving the vehicle and doing it all at once, compared to making multiple trips. But making the multiple trips has been invaluable for his pay plan, because that's where they get paid on. So now he's all about, taking the car to the customer's house, showing them what it's about, and then presenting menu later. Then he's absolutely got things to go refer back to the customer that he knows the customer's already interested in. So
it seems like more work, but it's going to benefit them in selling more product and making more money.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it's ultimately a win. And there's not a single person that's straight from that process, unless obviously, they're like 4.5 hours away, and then, that makes it kind of tough to do that.
Sure. So are you seeing any different objections on the products in this environment?
Yes. There's a lot less rapport when they go about it that way. What we've seen after, as we said, going to customers' houses first before we go out there with the delivery vehicle after the car's been washed and detailed and everything else, um, it was easy. It was significantly easier for the client to say, no, don't want it, pass, move on. But after we take all the steps and going out to their houses and showing the cars and being extremely safe about the entire situation, our attention to detail, all of those things, then it's not easy to say no considering everything that we've done for them. I suppose, I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
That's a good point.
We
But
we
so
go
so
about.
no one is like I'm hearing from other stores that hey they're buying a lot more because they're worried that something bad like this might happen again and they won't have money in the future to pay for repairs, so they're more inclined to buy a service contract or buy something. And I don't have any
Mhm.
data to show that that's actually true. I'm just curious if you're seeing more people say yes, or you're no change in that area. Or you're fighting harder to get the product.
We're definitely having. It seems like we're fighting harder to get the product because people are all about how much money they have currently here. I guess. I mean, maybe it's the customers that we have, but most of the people is extremely strict from a budget standpoint. Um, they don't want to spend more than they want, more than they can, and they want the lowest payment as possible. So I mean, it hasn't seemed like it's anything different from a traditional day-to-day objection standpoint,
Right.
pre-COVID. But
Yeah, well,
then
that's fair, and,
we
at
ran
least
it.
that hasn't changed for the worse, because that's a typical objection we get anyway. They want to keep their payment. So one last question
Right.
for you: we come out of this pandemic, we're opening up like your Honda store is now. They're opening up the doors. How do you keep some of the things that are good that you've learned in here, and not just get back to hey everyone's coming in? And the reason I ask
Uh-huh.
that question is I think that especially in your environment when you were sending videos out beforehand, some of your customers may want to get to the point of when they get into the store, they just want to be closer to the end result. And I think some of the things that we've learned
Mhm.
here or that you've learned here could help you get there.
I agree. As I said, I mean, there's a lot of client advice that we have now that don't really even want customers to come to the showroom anymore. I think we're going to do everything we can to push for the offsite still sale. Taking cars to customers' houses, paperwork to customers' houses. Obviously, I mean, safety is always going to be a big concern nowadays, infection and whatnot. So, we're going to ultimately we've had direction that we're going to limit the amount of people that we have in the showroom anyway, in terms of customers, salespeople, everyone combined, and with all the regulations that they're putting in place, we're gonna have to do the majority of our deals still offsite, if at all possible. The biggest challenge that I know that we're gonna have to overcome really is that other dealerships aren't willing to do that. Um, so we have had some customers that we have regrettably lost to other dealerships that have allowed people to go into their service department to buy cars, whereas we're only doing things remotely. And there's some people that just have to look at 16 different vehicles before making a decision, which has been pretty difficult for us to be able to accommodate in that sense. So, um, I think we've got the right word tracks at this point about, taking cars to customers' houses, transparency. We can go over all the numbers before you even come in through the door. I think there's a lot of things that we can still use to make it an easier process for anybody else that comes in. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that older car guys are afraid of is we don't want to get the days of hey just get them in and we'll sell them are gone. I think we're to the
Mhm.
point where if we can get them far enough down the road that when they get in, it's closer to a car deal. It helps everyone. And I don't want to
Right.
see. I would hate to see people that learn these kinds of things just think we're going to get back to normal because I don't think it's ever going to be the way it was last year.
No, I mean, yeah, we don't think so either. I think this has pretty much changed. Um, I mean, from our dealership standpoint, I mean, it's changed the entire, what we're going to try and accomplish. I mean, we want to do as much remotely as we possibly can, just for the convenience of the customer and time and so on and so forth. And our CSI is skyrocketed. It's never been higher under these circumstances, um, for our customer satisfaction. So it's
That's
been
crazy. I mean, that's
it's
good.
strange, but
That is
Yeah.
awesome. I really appreciate you doing this. It's going to help me a lot on the Friday email. So they don't just hear me saying, hey, here's a good idea. They can see someone that's actually doing it. And I'm hoping it invites other people to come on and say, all right, here's something cool that we're doing. I do appreciate you coming on with this.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you as well.
Well, guys, that's about all we have time for today. I know this was a little bit longer than normal. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. Thank you to Jin Pak and for Champ Subaru for coming on and doing the interview. I think it's good to get the perspective of a retailer that is actually using the technology and doing things a little bit differently to sell cars and sell products. I know that every store is a little bit different and everyone might have a little bit different process, but if you want to get some training and talk about how to use better email communication, presenting menus via email, or ideally through a Zoom or a video type conference call, I would love to get together with you so that we can go over how to do it and how to best be effective in this new environment. If you want to send me a text or an email, I will set up a Zoom conference call with you and we can do some one-on-one training. But that's all we have time for today. Thank you for all that you do. Have a great weekend. Stay safe and stay healthy.